Hello,
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 everyone.
everybody. Happy Friday.
Hello.
We have some that are already here. So, welcome, welcome as everyone's coming in. As you can
Hello.
see, we have our guest this evening, Alia Wells.
Yay. Bonus points for
Welcome,
saying it
Alia.
correctly. Well, thank you.
If anyone has any questions for Alia, it will definitely be helpful to put that Q before your question. That way, we don't miss anyone's questions. But we're going to give a little bit of time for some more to come into the chat. So, how has your week been, Alia?
Busy, very, very busy. We made some big changes. We're going to be doing some more big changes. And, my kids are visiting grandma. So my husband and I have had a lot of time. We think we do like nice, fun, romantic stuff, but no, we're just working.
That's usually the way it goes.
Well, like empty nesters, but workaholics.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And my kids are having so much fun. They call us on WhatsApp every day. Mom, how are you? Love you. It's really cute to get little WhatsApp messages from your 5-year-old. No, we've been super
That's awesome.
busy, and and we caught up on we watched some Sherlock and we watched some Jack Reacher at the end of the day. But no, we've been doing a lot of work. It's really funny. I'm like, sorry, now that I'm just on a roll, I get up at I sometimes start working at like 7, and all of a sudden it's like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, I'm still working, and then usually I work till 3, and my schedule is set up that way to work from like 8 to 3 so I can be with my kids. And if I work after 3, I start getting really stressed because I need to be with my kids. So with them not here, I'm just like happily continuing to work. And I'm like, oh, it's so much less stress when your kids aren't there.
No,
But
I
I miss
definitely
them.
hear you because it's
Yeah.
easy to kind of get in that focus, like that work focus, especially when you don't have any distractions in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Nicole. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Nicole. Welcome, welcome. She's saying hey to all of us here.
Yes.
I
Here
miss
we
I,
have
I
Lynn
miss
joining us.
Nicole at the end says I miss Alia's laugh. I miss her farts. I miss them flushing the toilet. Nicole.
Right here.
We'll have to do something in January.
Her famous, notorious soundboard.
Yes. Hello, Becky.
Hey,
Yay. Hi,
Becky.
Becky.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, put your questions in the chat. Put your questions
Here she's
in
cracking up.
the chat. Oh,
For
man.
those of you joining and you see my background, yes, I am at a hotel in Tennessee meeting up with my sister. Not the
It was
normal
really
background
cute.
for
We were
sure.
backstage, and Alia was like, "Oh, Cindy, your room looks like a hotel room."
Because it is.
I'm like, wow, I should just really do some upgrading. We will. We'll do this in January.
That'll be really, really cool.
It'll be very cool.
I like when everyone unites, but when it's like a men's panel or like a woman's panel, it's really cool
Yeah,
because then it's kind of like you're hearing just that set gender's point of view of everything.
sure. Because I definitely we have like different points of view. Like, okay, I always bring up my menstrual cycle because I had such a hard time with it growing up, and I'm like, now I'm 40, and it is literally the most normal it has ever been in my entire life. Like clockwork, starts exactly on day 28, stops X amount of days later. It's not wild. I'm not in pain. It's just really weird that eating correct, I think, was very much a key point in that after a lifetime of torture. No.
Absolutely.
I'll tell
I
you,
just
you'll be
hit
having
40
more
last
kids.
weekend.
Yeah, I don't think I'm having any more kids.
So here we have Becky. She's asking, what kind of work do you and your husband do, Alia? I can't remember if I ever heard that.
I research real estate. It's quite tedious and boring, but I love it.
That's
my
really cool.
my
You
mind
do
is
it
like,
there
yeah,
where you're living? I don't
yeah,
know if you want to, I'm sure everyone has heard where you live, probably by now, because I know you get a lot of questions once you tell people where you live.
yeah. I know. I live in Columbia, and I research
So is it
real
real
estate.
estate for there?
you know, no,
It's
no.
all over.
Yeah,
Then
but
that's
let's just
interesting
talk. It's
then.
it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring, and it's like a history of the house. Like if I were to research your house in Florida, like how many, like 50 years back, who's owned it, and everything like that. That's what I do.
That seems really cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, probably if you've done it for so long, like I could probably understand,
No,
like
I think
kind of.
every day is exciting, but when I explain it to people, I think it's probably boring for people.
No, to me that sounds really interesting, especially like from the history standpoint of it.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the house we grew up in was built in 1914.
Oh wow.
Oh,
That
you
would be neat.
see?
That would be neat to
Yes,
know.
because well, imagine, oh my gosh, imagine what history is in that. And I
Yeah.
find it like interesting because you'll also see like stuff that comes up on social media of people doing renovations and when they
Oh yeah.
open like a wall or they're removing like floorboards and stuff like that, the things they find
That's
that
true. I mean, my
people like
research
hid.
doesn't deal with that. It's more like who owns the property, and you know, there you go.
Nicole's asking, have you popped up on any interesting crime history of any houses? I love true crime.
No,
Me too. I love true
no,
crime.
that would be hilarious. But no, usually that's not in like any government offices. That I mean, I can't get to that. The only exciting thing I would find is like if people died and who owned it next, like how it went from like a grandpa to I have to like research like if there's not deeds, how it went from like Grandpa Joe down to like grandson Jake, and
Oh,
like
okay.
wait, there's no deeds there, and how did that possibly happen? I have to find the documents and dates of death. We were talking about ancestry.com, like
Mhm.
why that is, and there you go.
Right. I know in our house, my uncle died in the house.
Oh
My
no.
mom
Oh,
died in the
wow.
house.
Oh wow.
And my dad pretty much, you can pretty much say he died right out in the backyard. So it's really
Oh
weird.
my gosh, wow.
That would be, I told my oldest sister, I said, I would love to go through that house and talk to the new owners to see if they have any kind of activity going on in it.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
I would love it.
And
Oh
if they
my
haven't
goodness.
had activity, they are gonna be on edge
Oh my god, that would like freak them
to
out.
know that 3
Mhm.
people passed in that house. Oh my goodness, because I know if somebody just showed up and was like, "Oh, I'm a family member," and I had 3 family members that died at your house,
Oh, I
and
wouldn't
I
tell them
never
that.
knew.
I would just say we used to live here. It's just weird though, for sure.
Becky's
Yeah.
asking, "Did you fully recover from your trip to the States, Alia?"
Finally, yes, finally, I got back on track. No, as soon as I got back here, I was like back on plan, eating low carb, doing great. I started dropping all that weight. I think all the inflammation that I gained, I don't know if it was really a lot of weight, but finally, yeah, yeah. No, that was intense. That was intense being in the States. Like you, I'm not a sugar person. I didn't eat one piece of Halloween candy, and I'm not saying I didn't eat anything sweet, but I'm like, oh, if I'm
Right.
gonna like if I, especially Thanksgiving, but I'm like, if I'm gonna like go off, I'm not gonna waste it on a Hershey's bar.
Exactly. That's how I feel, like, it would really have to be worth it. That's why when people ask me, like, if I gone ever off plan or for me, like, I can't because I don't wanna get sick, number 1,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I have not come across anything that would be worth it enough to experiment and see if I would get sick. Like,
yeah.
it would have to be something, like, beyond amazing
Sada,
because
you are a
my
superhero.
well, thank you, but, like, the thing is, I was raised on my grandmother, like, on her cultural, like, home-cooked everything, like, the
Mm,
breads and everything that she made, like, homemade meat pies, and so that is what, like, I'm setting the bar, like, that high
yeah,
for the savory foods I would love and indulge. That way, I tell everybody, like, if my grandmother was still alive to this day, like, who knows if I would be able to be as strict as I am. Because, oh my goodness, her savory foods, oh, amazing.
I'm sure. I am sure. Oh, I just want to clarify. Like I said,
Mhm.
just talk about my work for a second. I love my work, or else I wouldn't do it. I just have like a
I hear
mind,
that.
like my brain loves to like try to tear apart complicated
Mhm.
things. Like when I was a kid, I loved doing these huge puzzles, and that's like what I have in my head. It's
Yes.
like putting together a puzzle and making it make sense. But when I try to explain it to people, then it gets into all the like the legal words and blah blah blah, and that's why I say it might be kind of boring, but I love it. It's like within my, it's definitely my vocation.
Yeah.
And I'm
No,
lucky. I'm lucky to do it from home.
and that's the thing because I'm sure like, when you're researching and stuff, there could be a lot of differences that come up when you're researching.
Yeah.
And,
Everything, every house is
you
like
can
a
come
different,
across,
it's a
yeah,
different
you can come
beast.
across some eye-opening things. That's
Yeah,
what would make really
exactly.
interesting. And then Sandra, welcome. She is saying, wow, I
Hello.
bet a ton of that research is going on with Hawaii after
Oh,
fires.
sure. Yeah, sure. Who else is here?
Mike, welcome, Mike. I was
Hello,
raised on
Mike.
country moonshine. Oh, yeah. We have Dustin in the house. Keto Simple. Good
Hello.
evening. Welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. We got Renee in the
Hey,
house. Hi,
Renee.
everyone. Welcome, welcome. So we do have a good amount of audience that's joined us already. So we wanted to wait until we had a good amount of people in before you introduced yourselves. So Ali, if you
Right.
want to go ahead and give everyone an introduction for those that possibly don't know of you yet or never watched your content before, tell us a little bit about your channel and your journey.
Cool. So, hello, I'm Alia. I am a mom of two small kids. I think that's my number one job. My number one duty in life is being a mom. Let's see. Uh, I've been married since 2017 to my husband. Let's see. I don't know. And I sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm on the spot now. What do I say? I'm from Chicago, and if anyone's from the Midwest, you know that we love food in the Midwest. We love all
Mm.
sorts of food in the Midwest. So growing up here, this is my introduction. Growing up, I was a chubby little kid, or even obese. I had an addiction to food for sure, and to the point where I remember one time I used to get French fries every day. I would ask my dad for $1, and I would go to the standard Greek restaurant across the street from us, because that's what we call those restaurants, the standard Greek restaurant, where they'd serve French fries, hamburgers, gyros, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I remember one time my addiction to French fries was so bad. Hello.
Hey,
Um,
Carrie.
Nice to see you too. It's been forever, yes. My addiction to French fries was so bad. I remember lying to my dad once to get money out of him so I could go buy French fries, like a drug addict. When I was 10, I was 100 pounds, and I was like, I don't know, 4 foot nothing. So you can imagine. Now, hitting my teenage years, I like sprouted, and I was chubby, but I don't think anyone, or skinny, but I don't think anyone would have called me obese or fat.
Mm.
And that carried through till I was about pregnant at 32, 33 years old, where I was kind of just like a normal size. I still loved food, but I had moved away from the Midwest. I went to the West Coast, and then I traveled around. But as a teenager, when I was 18, I started smoking. So I replaced my food addiction for a smoking addiction. And I would take a 5-minute meal break at work, and then I would just smoke the rest of the time, if that makes sense. So you don't feel as hungry. Bye, Nicole. You don't feel as hungry when you're smoking. So I'm just bringing that up because I went from one addiction of food to another addiction of smoking, and not eating so much. I kept the weight down because I'd rather smoke than eat, or drink a coffee and smoke, or whatever. There have been times in my life where I did low carb. Like I would, when I was 18, a friend of mine and I were like, oh, let's do the Atkins diet for a month, and we can only eat protein. And so we both lost a ton of weight really fast. And then, the challenge, the game's over. And so we just go back to how you were eating before. Anyways, so there's been moments in my life like that. So I just want to bring it all up so people understand, I haven't always been very overweight. As a child, I was, and then a little bit in my 20s. And then when I was so in my 20s and in my life, the biggest I ever got was 170 or 175. That was before I had kids. And I was mortified. I hated it. I would be in tears about my weight, but I would love food. I happened to live in Texas at the time, another place where people love the food.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Everything's big. So you can only imagine the food portions were big.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went back to the West Coast after Texas, and a friend of mine's like, why don't you try this diet? I think it's going to help you. And it had to do with like basically keto. It was keto. It wasn't called keto, but it was basically doing super low carb. I allowed myself like a piece of like toast in the morning. I drank lots of green tea. I took vitamins, and I lost weight really fast. And I was super skinny. I went from 175 to like 130 in like 3 months. I was tiny. And then I fell off of that, and I got back up to like 150, and I stayed there until I got pregnant. Now, when I got pregnant, I put on 80 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And then I had Jacob, and then 11 months later, I was pregnant with Brianna.
Okay.
So gained 80 pounds. Your hormones are all out of whack. You're nursing. The second you finish nursing, you're basically pregnant again. And then I was pregnant. So I was pregnant or nursing for like 5 years between those two babies.
Right.
That destroyed my hormones because it just does. It just does. It's a lot to put on a body, right? On your body. And I didn't know how to eat. Now, while I was at the end of my pregnancy with my daughter, I found Dr. Berg, and I started watching his videos. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this as soon as I'm done with it. When I have my baby, I'm going to start this, which is really funny because when I was pregnant with Brianna, I actually lost weight because it was so hard for me. It was my first pregnancy I could eat. My second pregnancy I couldn't eat. It almost felt like that. Right. So I had lost a little bit of weight. And then as soon as she was born, I was like downing pizzas, entire chickens. Like I was so hungry.
That you were making up for time.
And you're nursing, right?
Yes.
And if you remember that, you're always like super hungry. Anyway, so basically the point of me saying that is after Jacob was born, so I went from like 150, 160-ish to like 215 pounds in that pregnancy. And then I have stayed in that range since then. And so also in relationship to your hormones, they change when you're pregnant. I didn't have a menstrual cycle for years. And that will actually make you feel terrible. I wasn't eating right though. That's for sure. Every time I tried keto, it was very like, it was like iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, dried chicken. I'm doing keto. And then you're obviously not. You're torturing yourself. And so that you can only stick on that for so long. And I would allow myself cheat meals, which would go into like cheat months. So this went on, me trying to lose weight went on for years. And I was kind of like a wreck hormonally. I feel like that's what it was. I don't ever say that I was like depressed. But I think like sleep deprivation and not eating correctly, and then emotionally eating when you're happy, eating when you're sad, eating when you're tired. I almost didn't sleep. I felt for like 2 years after my daughter was born because she was a night owl, but I would still be working the next day. So like she would go to sleep maybe like 8 and then be up at 11. And I would be up from like 11 to 3, 11 to 4 in the morning. So all those things can make you feel really bad. Not eating correctly, raising two kids.
Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep. And that's going to screw you up and make you gain weight also. So I feel like gaining weight is not really the issue. It's all the other stuff, not eating correctly, not sleeping, allowing yourself, whatever. I want to see what Renee says here. I gained 100 pounds in my first about 6-8 weeks. Whoa. Oh, wow. That was so fast.
6 to 8 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. You really like when you're pregnant, you like give yourself all those freedoms and then regret it later.
And fortunate for the ones that can eat. Like I had both of my pregnancies that I had for both of our boys. I could not keep anything down for both.
Oh man.
For both.
That's rough. So I'm just saying, I'll get back to the story and we'll wrap up my introduction. So how I got here. So in the last more recent years, I just remember too many times talking to my husband, crying about my weight. And it really, with the weight, I don't think really was the issue now that I'm eating correctly. It was how stressed out my body was and my mind was from like not sleeping correctly and not eating and my hormones being all out of whack. Right. So sometime last year, I started. Oh, so I watched a Dr. Berg video about the difference between keto and carnivore, and I think I was like, that sounds really weird that somebody could just eat meat. That's not for me. I got to eat my vegetables. Okay, right. Which I do like vegetables. I just most of them I can't eat, from what I've realized.
Me too. Me
So then
too.
we saw him. He interviewed a gentleman named Tristan Haggard, and he lives in Ecuador, and he has a huge YouTube channel, Tristan Haggard, and he talks about the carnivore diet. And I thought that was very interesting because in his interview, he explained inflammation and all these things that totally changed. So after that, I kind of like fell down the rabbit hole of studying carnivore. And then I found Ken Berry. And then one day I was like, March 1st, baby, I'm doing this. I'm trying this. I'm trying this heavy meat thing. And you know what? It worked. But I will say, so I've lost like 30 pounds. I haven't gotten pre-pregnancy weight at all. I'm like around 180. And you know what? That's why I said like the weight, I don't think ever really was the issue. It was my mental state. It was how out of whack my hormones were. It was like that I was so sleep deprived that, and then you just feel bad all the time. And so you handle your nutrition and you handle your sleep, and all of a sudden life is hunky dory again. And, I want to lose more weight for sure. I'd like to lose like another 30, 40 pounds, but that's not like the priority and the thing that I'm constantly like thinking about or obsessing over, like I really want it. Why can't I eat the cheesecake? Cry.
Right,
and then
right.
you eat the cheesecake and then you look at yourself in the mirror and then you cry some more. Like that's like not fun. And this is a bit of an over exaggeration, but probably that exact story happened.
Exactly. It could be very much the reality. You're right.
Yeah. And I don't have that anymore. I have so much less stress about my body. I will say I was feeling bad again after a month of eating really badly, or 3 weeks of eating really badly. Hey, Brett, I'll see you Sunday morning. I'll see you Sunday morning. So there you go. We put so much attention on bodies, and you want to look like Margot Robbie, or you want to look like these beautiful women. And I mean, just be happy in your own skin is more important, I think.
And that's it right there. I mean, the healing component of it, like especially you mentioning the mental health aspect of it, that is huge because, once you get to a certain point, like with your mental health healing, you feel like everything else in life is possible. Whether it's your eating, whether it's, just having value and appreciation for every single day of what you do, whether it's work, whether you go out there and do some physical activity for yourself, any form of self-love or self-care, you now have, for the most part, that mental health healing that makes you feel like you are deserving of that self-care and self-love, whether, it's anything, staying on track with the food, doing, as well as you can with your work, giving the best we can to our significant others, to the friends in our lives, to our children, for so much. So many different aspects. And I think, that's huge and that's so important for everybody to realize, because that's the main thing that I see, like you're mentioning, like the weight loss. In any community, whether it's keto, carnivore, ketovore, everybody, especially a lot of newbies, they're like, oh, well, I'm obviously doing this wrong. Can someone tell me what I'm doing? Because I'm not losing weight. I went on the scale and nothing changed on the scale.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, they forget, this is really about the healing, like, especially if someone came from standard American diet, how long, like, what age are you now? And think back to how many decades probably you were on standard American diet.
Right.
It's not going to reverse itself in a week of eating this way. Probably not even a month. Do some have those kind of positive results, those rapid positive results? Yeah, it happens for some, but not for everybody. And I think that's what gets some discouraging. But Carrie's saying here, yes, the mental healing is amazing and freeing. Absolutely.
Totally. 100%.
Brett is asking, what's your plan to stay on track for the holidays and New Year?
Great question. So we're inviting family here if we don't go visit family there. And I think either way I'm cooking.
Do you have a menu plan already?
Yeah, it's called steak.
Oh, okay. So you're going to do ribeyes?
Yeah, probably ribeyes or, I don't know. Probably, yeah.
What's your preferred way of cooking them there?
On a frying pan. I want to get a sous
Okay.
vide. I want to get a sous vide. I don't want to do ribeye with the sous vide. Just, it takes 2 minutes to cook in the frying pan. But
Yeah.
I did with my sister, we sous vide brisket, and that was like the most amazing thing. I'm like, I could eat this every day of my life. So.
Oh, brisket's so good. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's really good.
And it's so cheap. It's so much cheaper than a ribeye.
Yes, and it still has so much fatty goodness on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike, very true. Fix your metabolic health and fix a bunch of other stuff. Turns out a lot of disease is just symptoms of bad metabolic health. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's always that root of the problem that causes
Right.
everything else to go out of whack. Absolutely.
That's right. And I'll compare this to my most recent experience of going home and just like allowing myself to go off. The inflammation comes back so fast. It comes back so fast, and the pain and other issues, it just returns because you're like poisoning yourself. So, but what's funny is it will reverse itself if you just do the right thing also. So it's just, you got to stay the course on what's right for your body, and, keep your successes in your brain, keep your successes in your mind of what you've accomplished. And then it'll be easy. Like, yeah, I made a whole video like, oops, I screwed up, but I kind of did it on purpose. And now I'm like, oh man, I will never do that again.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we were talking about this backstage, but I'm scared to even experiment going off plan, only because I have so many in my life that depend on me. Like, I homeschool my kids. I work full time. So if I was to get sick from like my experimenting, who would it like throw my entire life like out of whack?
Yeah,
Because
I
then,
understand.
I can't accomplish the things that I've been feeling so good that I'm able to accomplish.
Yep.
Yeah,
But yeah, Mike's agreeing. Facts. So, do you guys smoke the brisket?
Okay, so this is the first time I ever cooked brisket, and we tried 3 different ways. We got a big old piece. It was so big, and it was like $50 from Costco.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. Go get a Costco card. $120 your food for a week for 4 people almost. Anyways, it was a big piece of brisket. We cut it up in 3 pieces. Attempt number 1. We pressure cooked it for half an hour. It was so hard to eat. It was like very tough. I think we got to pressure cook it for a lot longer.
Yes.
Attempt number 2 was in the oven. And my sister's like, oh, we should have done it like, you should have done it like low temperature for a long period of time, because I did a high temperature for 3 hours. So that was less tough. It was more delicious though than the pressure cooker. And then the sous vide. So to answer your question, no, we don't smoke it. We didn't smoke it. The sous vide, do the sous vide. Oh my gosh, 7 hours, low temperature. It's literally going to melt in your mouth. It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, I've done it in the oven. And I purchased the same, like that big hunk of brisket from Costco. Yes. And that's what we did. I salted it, rubbed it down in butter just to kind of heighten that extra little bit of flavor. And, of course it's fatty, so it's going to have that flavor, but just to kind of take it up a notch, rubbed it down with some butter. And yeah, I just put it in the oven in like an aluminum pan, covered it with some aluminum foil, and slow baked it. Actually, I'm fortunate that I work from home because I was able to, set it at 200 degrees Fahrenheit and let it slow bake the whole time that I was at work all day. But you can imagine once it started smelling good, that's when things got rough.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
We have smoked the brisket. That is so good. We smoked it low, and so I spread it down with mustard and salt.
Okay.
And man, it was so good.
That sounds really good. I'm scared of trying.
Really good.
Oh man, mustard is like one of those things I'm like scared of trying, because I love mustard, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to set off what reaction in my body. Like I was eating a lot of spicy foods, and then Like when I came back home, I was
Yeah.
eating a lot of like jalapenos and like chipotle on my steaks, and it tasted good. But then I just no, it didn't feel good. So
There
I'm good with
is
steak.
brands that have like the minimal ingredients.
Yeah.
Like some of them don't put a lot of the like the high oxalate type of stuff that might
Okay.
give some reactions.
Yeah.
You'll have to probably search Amazon. Like if you
I order from Amazon. I get it comes here.
Oh, okay, I
Surprisingly.
was gonna say
Don't
like if you're able to
yeah.
get like a good variety of what can ship to you,
Yeah.
I would check. I can message you some because, in all, the carnivore community and stuff like that, everybody shares everything about like all
Sure.
like the condiments that are super clean if anyone wants to experiment.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some clean ones out there. I would try one of those
Yeah.
and start minimal. Like I would
Yeah,
even say
sure.
less than a tablespoon. Like probably do, maybe like a teaspoon at a time,
Yeah.
see if anything comes up because, a lot of times even like the smallest amount could spike a reaction.
Right.
But if it's something, you're set on wanting to try, give it a
Sure,
try.
send me the info. I'll check it out. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Life is just so much easier when you don't have to deal with all that. Like I ate some pork
exactly.
belly, some eggs. I had some.
Mm-hmm.
I had some steak. I might have some sugar-free yogurt, like a
Mm,
couple, some of that, and that's like
right.
my day. Oh, and the yogurt is not every day.
Yeah,
Like, and
that's
that's
for
just so much
me. Yeah.
simpler. Well, see, the thing is, at my sister's house, they have all these cheeses, and the cheese isn't very good here, unfortunately. In Colombia, it's not very good. But she had all these cheeses, so
Mm.
that was like my first thing that led me off the path was I was eating so much cheese, and then I was putting a lot of cream in my coffee. And then I'm like, oh well, maybe I could try this, maybe I could try that, maybe I could try this, and it's just like roller coastered, or snowballed.
Oh yeah, no, I could definitely see that's tricky, especially, the cheese you can't
Oh
get the good quality. And then
man, yeah,
here, oh my goodness, even like the Costco here at the States,
yeah.
oh, they got cheese from all over the place, even different countries.
Oh
So
yeah,
there is definitely variety big time here.
and I found one called like at Walmart even. It was called Dubliner. Maybe it wasn't Walmart, but it was so good. It was like this
That is
Irish
very
cheese.
good.
Yes, I've tried that one before. Yes,
The
it's
problem
good.
is I will just sit there and eat the whole thing like in one sitting. If there's cheese, it's gone. So it's even better that I don't have that because I will binge cheese.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's the Kerrygold
Oh yeah.
cheese.
Yeah.
That's the Dubliner. They also have
Yeah.
another one. Oh, I forgot what the name of the other one is. But they have different like varieties of the Kerrygold cheese, and it is good because it has like that like pure rich taste,
Oh
just like
man.
their butter does. Their
Yeah.
butter. Some people are like, "Oh, what's the big deal with Kerrygold butter? It's just butter." But you do taste the difference once you
Sure.
actually try it. It's kind of
It's
like
really good.
eggs. When people
Yeah.
make that comparison with eggs and they're like, "Oh, well, what's the difference between, the store bought and if you were to get like farm fresh?" Trust me, you will taste the difference. Once you've been eating
Sure.
something for long enough, you will definitely taste the difference.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here, like, okay, that was a big difference. Like, I'm like, why are these eggs so pale? Like, I bought them at
Mm.
Costco. I'm like, why are these eggs so pale? They're like light yellow. And then here, no joke, the yolks are like this.
Oh, yes.
Which happened to be on my desk, this little like piece of cloth. But the yolks are like maybe not this orange, but very orange. And often we just get our eggs from our neighbor whose uncle has a
Yeah.
farm. So it's a big difference. And the butter here is amazing. We don't have
Oh, I
Kerrygold, but the
bet.
butter is amazing.
Oh, I
All
bet.
right, on a roll now.
Rick's mentioning the rainy weather here is really delaying my progress. Oh, yeah, for the smoking. That's the thing. Like here in South Florida, we're gonna be having like a storm coming through. So even like tomorrow and like all through the weekend, there's gonna be a bunch of like cancellations for like any holiday events that were going on
Oh man.
because the wind here has been insane, like completely insane. So
Oh
that's
man.
what he's speaking on behalf of. The South Florida fun continues, even not during hurricane season.
Oh my
But
gosh, so
prime
crazy.
rib. So have you done prime rib, like a full-on prime rib before?
I don't know.
Because you
Okay,
can
so we have
either get
them.
like the prime rib roast,
Yeah.
or like if you actually cut it and make like a big hunk of prime rib. because prime rib is really good on more so like the rare side. It is
Oh, okay.
delicious.
So what I have right now, my husband ordered from the butcher last week was like a chunk of, how do I explain this? A chunk of ribeye, like a big rib roast, but it was connected to
Okay,
the
okay.
ribs, like the tomahawk. But they
Yes, the
took
standing rib roast.
okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah, exactly. But they took the bones out of it for us, so it's just basically all meat and
Yes.
fat, and it's good. Is that prime
Mm.
rib? That part right there next to the rib roast, is that prime
That
rib?
would be the prime, yeah.
Oh, okay,
If
yeah.
it's
So I just
prime, if it's because you
oh
have
okay.
some that it's not certified as prime.
Oh, then I don't know if it's. I don't think I have prime nothing here. We just get it from the butcher, and we
It
said,
depends
yeah.
because the prime is really kind of like the quality
Oh,
is the
okay,
way they label it. Some just say
okay,
standing rib roast, and then some are like prime standing rib roast.
okay. No, those categorizations don't really exist, or if they do, I don't
For me, they
understand.
don't either. If it's on
Okay,
sale, it
yeah,
ends up in my
exactly. Buy
kitchen. And I know
it.
Cindy feels the same way
Yeah.
because her and I, we talk about this all the time because I'll share with her when I'm, hitting up a sale. I'll be like, oh, Cindy, look how much oxtail I bought. Or Cindy, look how many steaks I bought.
And there are not those prices around where I am. That's like, it's crazy. I'll go searching for the prices and nope, nope. But we
That's
definitely
the
get
thing.
what's on sale, including the store bought eggs. I mean, I can't. I don't have chickens. I can't get chickens where we live,
No,
and I'm not going to pay the price. I'm just as happy with the ones we get. Like, get what you can afford, and
right,
that's
Mhm.
what you do.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, he's talking about the riding the bike in this weather. Oh, yeah, because you are fighting that wind, and that wind has been insane and intense. Like, we have big, heavy flower pots outside, and even those knocked over with this wind. So you can only imagine.
Oh
They've
wow.
never knocked over before. Like, we've literally even had them out there during like some low grade category hurricanes. They were perfectly fine. But no, this wind has been something else.
Oh man.
Wow.
I loved your bacon video, drooling.
I want bacon.
Now you have everybody's mouth drooling with the
Yeah.
mention of bacon. Hopefully tomorrow I get a break and drive the van. Yeah, that'll be really cool. He saw any more random lost roosters at your house. Yeah, so this was hilarious. Apparently, and we are not like the city ordinance that we have, you are not allowed to have any type of farm animals at all, including
Oh wow.
chickens. But apparently somebody in the neighborhood is doing kind of like some sneaky, which I don't blame them, to each their own. I would never be one of those people that would be like, oh, and call animal control. Oh, our neighbor has chickens. Come. No, like I'm not that type of neighbor. But it was hilarious enough because out of nowhere, of course, with this time change, 4 something in the morning, I thought it was my kid's TV. I thought it was one of our boys' TV because I'm thinking, oh, maybe they laid on like the remote. And because I just heard a big cock-a-doodle-doo. And I'm like, maybe it's one of their TVs. So I'm walking down the hall, heading to their room to go check. But then I hear it so loud in our dining room. And where our dining room is, it has like our patio slide glass door for our backyard. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, something is right at the door. I'm like, no, this can't be. Sure enough, I pull back the blinds, thing staring right straight at my face. I'm like, oh my goodness. I said, how is there a rooster right in my backyard? Like, I can't believe this.
That's
So it was
hilarious.
hilarious because here I thought eventually, because I worked all day. I worked all day, peeked out the window, rooster was kind of hanging out. Then eventually, by the time I was almost about to leave work, I thought it was gone. Come to find out, I get outside after work. It was hiding by our outside air condition unit. And of course, now that I was out there, it wanted to start chasing me down, like, oh, I'm here. I ran in the house. This thing tried to chase after me. Luckily, we have, our fence, so I was able to, shut the fence and stuff like that. But I could not handle it. I could not handle it at all. Like for me, no. Like handling something like that, I gotta leave it up to somebody else because I'm fearful. Like I'm fearful it's gonna either peck me or, try to claw me or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, oh my gosh, it was a hilarious fiasco, but no, it has not came back. And I think eventually it made its way back to its home. And I think that neighbor, I think they're probably a lot more careful about securing it, but it has not headed over this way again. But that was a funny experience.
That's crazy.
Oh, chicks used to be $1.89 each, now about $30 each, and the feed
Wow.
way too high. Oh my goodness. I mean, I could believe that because, there's a lot of people that, like I'm saying, our neighbor, like this is a suburban residential area, and
Right.
still yet they could care less what the city got to say.
Sure. My
We
sister has
tried to
three.
petition, they
Yeah.
did not let it pass because there was a huge petition, had hundreds of thousands of signatures on it. Mine being one of them. Because
Yeah.
for
Oh wow.
me, like I wouldn't for me, I don't want that responsibility of maintaining something in my backyard. But I signed it for everybody else because
Yeah.
I probably would have purchased from somebody that,
Sure.
I would have picked up that they would have well kept, their own and supported them through that journey and that process. But no, the city still did not pass that.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Before we moved to New Hampshire, or from New Hampshire, we had some chickens in our yard, and
Mm.
their food and their poop attract rats.
Oh,
Oh,
ew.
And
wow.
the rats had gotten into my son's work truck and
Oh,
chewed all the
no.
wiring twice. And we
Oh
we
wow.
got rid of them after that because it was
Oh
crazy.
wow.
I'm like, we
Well,
don't
maybe that's
need
why.
this headache. I mean, he was in trouble with his
Oh,
work, and I'm like,
wow.
nope,
No. My
didn't
sister
need
has
that
three in
headache.
her backyard, but she also has two cats and a dog, and I didn't see any rats. So they
That's
have like a whole
good.
little working ecosystem. Because
But
the cats they
they're,
eat the
I
chickens.
mean, it just causes havoc. Well, in
Yeah.
New Hampshire, the ground is so cold,
Mm,
to keep up with them when they're in their pen,
Right,
and they're
right.
pooping everywhere.
okay.
Yeah.
And the ground gets so hard, you can't dig it up. So, but that all
Oh
attracts
gosh.
these rats. And we had exterminator come and set traps, and I can't even tell you how many they wound
Mm.
up catching. It
Oh
was
my
ridiculous.
goodness. Wow.
I would never, I mean, right now we live in an HOA and there is absolutely nothing that
Oh
we're allowed to
wow.
have.
Nope, not happening.
So I'm good with that.
That would be a good enough reason, aside from me not wanting to maintain them. Yeah, when you mention rats, yeah, no.
No, not happening.
No,
It's
I would have
horrible.
to move. Nope.
This is very interesting what Rick says. He says ducks eat baby rats. That's interesting. Didn't realize ducks were carnivores. I
Well,
mean, I
if
mean
they
they
were
eat
just
bugs
Oh
and fish.
babies,
They eat
wow.
bugs and fish. So
it would have been one thing, but
Yeah.
oh man, New
Oh my
Hampshire.
gosh, wow.
I remember being in New York City and Manhattan and seeing a rat that was like the size of a cat. So I can only imagine in New Hampshire
Yes,
still on the East Coast.
they are, because I was born and raised in New Jersey. So, oh my goodness, those
Mhm.
NYC rats are something else, like literally
oh
something else. And I'm
man.
telling you, those like sewers there got them to the size that they are today. So you can only imagine what runs through those sewers
Oh my
because
goodness.
those are like rats, like you'll be shocked it was a rat. Like literally, you would have thought you came across like a raccoon or something. That's how big they are.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, so
It's
scary.
insane.
That's so scary.
And where we lived, it was quite populated. I mean, there were houses everywhere. It was like a subdivision. And it was just crazy that it was whew, it was a mess.
Oh wow. All
So
right.
Rick's saying
Well,
rooster is tasty. So we take it that you've eaten it before.
he must have, and he marinated it and deep fried it in tallow. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Oh, they don't taste good unless you fix them. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's
Yeah,
good to
I
know.
would not for something that just showed up in my backyard because this was a tiny one too. Mind you, with all the feathers, it was tiny. So imagine with all those feathers gone, how much smaller it would have been. So yeah, it looked like it was, a young rooster. So definitely not much of like a good eat in there for the
It was
amount that
just a
I'm
baby.
capable of eating.
That's true.
It
Hey,
was
so
just a
what's like
baby.
what's the oddest food that you've tried?
Oh my gosh.
I won't even
Or
try
what?
sardines, so I'm
Oh,
good.
you won't? Oh, okay. I've
So
tried
let me
sardines.
tell you, that is really hard to pinpoint just one thing because I'm a mix of Turkish and Indian.
Okay.
So especially like on the Indian side, oh my goodness, did we have some like wild type of meats? Because we've
Well, like
had like
what?
growing up, we've had camel before.
Oh, wow.
Uh, it's odd for some people to hear that like I grew up eating like goat and lamb.
But that's
Um,
yummy. That's delicious.
It's yummy, but people are like shocked. They're like, "Oh, you ate that when you were little?" I was like, "Well, yeah, like Turkish and Indian mix, like you are gonna have that variety."
Sure. In your in
Um,
the Indian, you're not going to eat like cow, right? Or
no,
no?
we do
Oh, okay.
because my father, the Indian he was not Hindu at all.
Oh, okay.
So it's more so the Hindu side that worships the cow and
Mm,
respects the cow in that way that they would not.
okay.
Um, But yeah, I think that's like the wildest one that anybody has heard me say was
Camel.
camel. And
I
the
A
thing
tried
is,
baby.
it
lamb
was
brain.
pretty good. Lamb
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like we ate growing up, we ate like all of the organs, like the hearts of everything. Even like my grandmother, like she used to, cook fish and, we would even eat the eye of the
Okay.
fish.
I
Um,
mean, it's normal. It's just made so
Culturally, that's how you are
unnormal.
brought up as a child.
Okay.
You don't waste. You eat everything, like all of
Right.
it you eat. You don't waste it.
Right.
Um,
That's very
it's
much
just like
the
a
culture
different
here.
upbringing. Yes, it's
Sure.
a very different upbringing.
The
Sure.
only
But
thing
it's
I ever ate that was off
Yeah.
anything is when my dad was alive, and he's been gone a very long time. So I was very young. We used to fight at Thanksgiving for the chicken gizzards.
is that the
Oh,
Okay.
or the
part of the
turkey,
neck?
rather, turkey gizzards.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
would
yeah,
fight over them. But that's the only thing. And that was like, no, I will not.
yeah. Okay.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much the culture in Colombia is you waste nothing, not just like animal products,
Mm-hmm.
like no food. You don't waste anything. And
Anything,
in the
yes.
US, I used to waste so much food. You just buy it, it's in the fridge, you throw it away,
Right.
when it was expired. And here you don't waste.
Mm-mm.
And I'm glad that
Yeah.
that's something I've changed being here. Like, I remember one time, like, must have been one of the first dinners I had with his mom, my husband's mom. And she's like, "Would you like some rice?" And first of all, I hate rice. I
Yeah.
hate rice. But to be nice, I said, "Okay, sure. Yeah." So then I eat like 2 bites of it. There's this huge plate of rice, like a huge
Oh
amount
my
of it
God.
left on my plate. And I'm thinking, just throw it away. And that's like, no way you don't throw it away. And then so um, my husband, he's like, next time don't don't eat rice. Don't ask for rice if you're not going to eat it because we don't waste. Like, so I've really learned
Mm,
like culturally a
yeah.
lot of different things, and it's even better. Like, don't waste stuff. Like, it's just wasting your money. So I'm happy to learn that, but I hate rice. It just
Yeah.
kind of like sits in your gut like. I mean, I don't eat it now. It sits in your gut like glue.
Oh man, I loved it. I haven't had any in 3 years, but I
Oh, good
loved
for
it.
you. You did? Oh, no, I've never
Oh
really, unless it's
yes.
like in a deep Chinese fried rice, I'll eat that, but
Mhm.
that's even worse than rice. So there
Yep.
you go. Yeah, but no, I've learned that here the culture don't waste stuff and
Yeah.
buy what you're gonna eat. Like, oh, and that's what I love about carnivore. Oh man, the meat will just sit in your
Mm-hmm.
fridge for weeks and it just tastes better.
Exactly.
The longer the
The
steak sits in your
longer,
fridge, the
yes.
better it tastes. And that's so crazy because you put some spinach in there, it's bad in a couple days.
Bad.
Your
Spinach,
avocado,
lettuce, yes.
oh man, the avocado, It's like so hard, so hard, so hard, so hard, rotten. Like, oh, I
To
missed my
catch that,
moment.
yes, to
I
catch
missed.
that moment when you're gonna cut into it and it's gonna be beautiful. But no, like now,
No.
like literally, there's like those jokes on social media. Like I went to go cut my avocado, but I went to go use the restroom first, and then they slice into it, and it was too late already.
Exactly. Oh
So they
man, but
make a joke of it that it's that quick
yeah,
when it
exactly.
rottens. Oh gosh.
Oh man,
Yeah.
no, but the eggs. I mean, we don't keep eggs. So first of all, in the U.S., they
Hmm.
do some procedure to eggs, some process to like clean them,
Yes.
and here you
Right.
don't do that. So your eggs literally can sit on your fridge for like a month, and they're still good. Like eggs don't
Yeah.
last that long in our house. We eat them like faster than that, but I think
Hmm.
they're good for like probably I don't even know how long, but they don't do that process to the shell that they do in the US.
In the
That you have to,
US.
yeah, you have to put your eggs in your fridge or they're going to go bad, like, I guess in a
Yeah.
couple hours. But here, no. And so we have steak in the fridge, we got eggs on top of the fridge, and we got some pork in the fridge, and
Mm,
maybe a few other things, but that's like the main stuff. And it just
right.
stays there, like, especially like the pork is in the freezer. I
Right.
just cut some off and I cook it when I'm ready. And that could be good for like a month. Not
Hmm.
that this food lasts that long in
That
our house
long,
because we
but
eat it.
just the understanding of the simplicity.
Right.
It's just effortless. It
It's
is
so
so
effortless.
effortless.
Yeah, you don't even have to. And when you have that and you're like starving and you're like, oh, I'm
Right.
so hungry right now. Okay, well, you make something fast and you don't have the
Exactly.
snacks to put in your mouth. And
Right.
so it's just like, oh, I'm going to eat an actual human food. I'm not going to eat the crackers or the Nabisco
Yeah.
or whatever, the Nestle XYZ product, not the Doritos. It's just, oh, now
Hmm.
I'm starving. I ate breakfast and then at like 10:30, maybe 11, I ate breakfast.
Right.
And now, granted, I've been up since 6:30. I had my coffee. I started working and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what? I'm starving. So then I go make food and then I forget about it. And then all of a sudden, oh no, I'm starving again. It's 7 hours later. I make some steaks
Yeah.
and then you're done.
That's the thing. Have them readily available.
Yeah.
Even like I did a meal prep video, and I'm not a person that meal preps regularly because, even with this new job that I have, this is the first time I've had both Saturday and Sunday, the full weekend off.
Yeah.
So it's like, who wants to meal prep on the weekend? Like, even
Nobody.
for like my Sunday, it's like, that's time you're having to really kind of commit to, what you're preparing to last for the week. But you know what, though? It was not as horrible, I would say, as I thought it would be. Mine took a little bit of extra time, of course, because I did two huge aluminum pans of oxtail. That
Mm.
way we would have had that. I did some burgers, some hot dogs. I just flashed boiled the hot dogs
Okay.
because once they were flash boiled, I could just, when I get my break from work, I could just put them in the air fryer and
Yeah.
they wouldn't have to air fry as long because they're flash boiled. Um, Even like the burgers, I kind of cook them a little under. That way, once I put them in the air fryer to heat them up, they don't completely dry out. It
Sure.
still kind of has that little wiggle room of cooking. But even like for stuff like that, if you put just a little bit of effort, nobody has to slow bake oxtails for hours to do a meal
Right.
prep. You can literally just prepare yourself a bunch of burger patties.
Sure.
If you're able to find a clean ingredient hot dog, prep that, put it to, oh, thanks, Brett.
That's how I say hot dogs. I'm from Chicago. We say
My
hot
hot
dogs.
dog, my water, and my sauce. Yeah. Everybody
Give me
gets me
my
all the time.
coffee. My
Let's
coffee.
not
Coffee,
forget your coffee.
coffee.
Can you say
I
butter for
can't
me, please? Can you say butter?
butter.
Oh, okay, fine. It's not your butter.
Oh, that's New England,
Oh, that's New
Leah.
That would
England
be New
butter.
England.
Is that
Yeah, the
like more
Yeah,
Bostonish?
Boston.
that's my
Boston,
husband.
yeah.
Okay. No, in Chicago, don't we say hot dogs? I want my hot dog and beer. I need a beer. I can't. I lost my accent. My brother thinks I have it, but I can't hear it anymore.
For me, I've been in Florida, oh my goodness, definitely over like 21 years, but has not left me yet.
Wow,
It
you
has
got a good
definitely
East
not left
Coast
me
accent.
yet. It's funny because even our kids, because they're homeschooled and they do go with like a co-op group on different like afternoons of the week,
Yeah.
but still, yeah, majority of the time they're home with me. So it's funny because both of them have more so like a northerner accent,
Oh, okay.
but they were
Because
born
they
in
hear
Florida.
you. Yeah.
They were born in Florida, but because they're with me all day, it's kind of one of those things like the accent is rubbing off on them, which is
Aw.
hilarious for people because people think they were born up north because of
Oh,
their
that's funny.
accent.
That's very funny. I mean, speaking of accents, really quick, I know we got a few more minutes here. My kids speak predominantly Spanish, but they understand when I speak to
Okay.
them in English. And
Yeah.
for my son, he prefers to answer me in Spanish. He does work a little
Mm.
bit. My daughter, she will speak to me in English. She's 5, but sometimes it comes out like super Latino.
But that's amazing because that is going to be huge for them. You know,
Sure.
when they're
Yeah.
adults and out there, it's going to be huge because I always say to myself, like, I wish, because when I was going to school, they did not require one of your electives to be a
Mhm.
language.
Yeah.
You just had to select, X amount of electives. It didn't matter what elective it was. You just
Okay.
had to select some electives.
Yeah.
But I wish they were more like strict about it
Sure.
because I felt like, I would have been better off because Spanish definitely would have been the one I would have really gone for because, oh my goodness, it's going to be
In
so
Florida.
useful in Florida, especially. It's going to be so useful for them. So that's huge right there.
That's true. I mean,
Wow.
no, but like my daughter says school, like school, but
Oh my
school, it's
gosh.
very cute. So,
Yeah.
but more and more she's sounding more and more like me when she speaks English, so it's very cute. She's very cute, but like she says Florida.
That's so
For
cute.
Florida. Yeah, it's very cute. No, but yeah, no, it's an interesting situation because they
Mhm.
speak like it's not like English. English is their second language. Spanish is their first
Yeah.
language. So, and I'm glad I speak Spanish so I can understand what they're saying.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's just really cool though. Like especially for you being their mother and then for Spanish to be their predominant first language. That's
Yeah,
really cool and interesting though.
yeah, it is very interesting.
Wow.
I wouldn't be able to understand my own kids.
Oh man, I mean, you are forced to learn the language of the country that you live in. It's
Well,
just
yeah.
that way. It's you hear it
Right.
everywhere. You want to have some friends, you better start talking.
Yes.
You're just forced to start practicing. So it's taken me years, but I do
Mm-hmm.
speak Spanish. And that's what's crazy about kids though. They just absorb
Right.
it like a sponge.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they just like
Absolutely. Yeah.
both like language, they just get it and they start talking and yeah. Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
Yeah.
that's a
We're
nice
off
word.
the carnivore course, but there you go.
Right. But I think that speaks volumes too, because, with you living there and for you to have learned the language, it's really embracing, that country and
Oh yeah.
showing like such a level of respect for where
Oh,
you're
that's true.
living.
That's true. Thank
So I think
you. Thank
that's
you. I never look at
huge.
it that way, but
Yes,
no,
that
people
is
definitely
huge.
like appreciate
Yes.
that I try, and when you're in a foreign country and you don't even try, like you're too
Mm.
snobby to like or so conceited that you don't even try to learn the
Yeah.
language and become part of like I definitely feel like this is my home, so it's good that I
Mhm.
speak like I don't feel like an outsider. I mean a little
Exactly.
bit, but I not so much if that makes
You're not
sense.
in tourist mode,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, exactly. But what's funny is what's even more appreciated is when I'm in the US and I speak
Mm.
Spanish to Latinos.
Oh, yes, but they're
That
not expecting it
no,
here.
not at all.
That's really
So
cool though.
yeah, it's very nice. And then people here who speak English, they want to practice with me and I want to practice. So it's actually really nice because they have like
Mm.
everyone's looking for like a native speaker to practice English with. And my husband's English is perfect. I mean, for the most part it's perfect. He will say it's not, but he speaks very good English. Better than my Spanish. Like years ahead of my Spanish. Oh, one last thing. I did a post on this about in Facebook, maybe you saw it, but like last week I was watching John Wick and it was like several minutes into the movie and I was like, oh wait, it's not in English.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. That is hilarious because
Yeah.
that's the thing. You truly made it like your own with the language and really
Yeah.
embraced it. So that's why I think it's really cool. Here, Coulter saying, when I was first married the 80s, my nephew on my husband's side kept asking me what I was saying. Iron, wash, were some of the words. I am from Missouri and they were in California. My husband had to interpret. Yes. When it comes to
Just the
certain
same language.
accents, yes. When it comes to it, that's the thing. It's just some accents come so heavy,
Yeah.
almost as if you're speaking a foreign language,
Oh,
is what
totally.
they think.
Oh my God. I had a
Well, that's
friend who's
like with my husband
yeah.
being from New England and us living in
Mm,
Kentucky
yeah.
now. There's so many people who are like, what? What is he saying? And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you need to learn how to speak all over again.
Oh my goodness, that's
Aw, that's very
hilarious.
fun. But I had a friend in Oklahoma and he spoke so slowly. I'm like, please speed up, you're talking.
He probably had like that Oklahoma relaxed living is probably what it is.
Yeah. Talk a little faster. Just a little bit.
Your nephew was 8 and it is northern Missouri. I feel I don't have an accent, maybe slower. Oh, yeah. It's hard because even for me, like when everyone kind of like, just teases about the words that I say that like it comes out really heavy, I don't notice it myself. So even
Yeah.
when like I'm saying it, I'm like, well, like I don't hear it the way you all are hearing it. So I'll just have to take your word for it because I don't hear it. But like I said, my kids, I can definitely hear them. But
Yeah.
myself, it's so natural to me that I
Sure.
don't hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But we definitely want to be respectful of your time.
Aw.
But we want to thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
And
Thank you
it
for having
was
me.
so fun and an absolute joy. And Cindy, I'm so appreciative of you. Even though you are out of state, you still popped in here for the full entire live. So definitely appreciate that as well.
Hey, this is
Um,
our lives. This is what we
yes.
do.
Thank
This
you.
is
No,
what
I
we do.
appreciate that. I full on appreciate that. But just to kind of do a little bit of a send off, Alia, if you just want to just give some that are not familiar with your channel or even those that are sub to you to kind of give just a little insight of what your future plans are, either whether you're going to have it as content on your channel or just plans you have off of YouTube, if you just kind of want to share with everyone as a little closeout.
Sure, cool. Let's see. On my channel, because I was off for like a month, I'm really trying to get back into the group
Mm,
of everything.
right.
I've got a couple live streams planned in the next couple weeks. I'm gonna be next Wednesday. At my calendar, I moved it. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna be with Amanda, Carnivorous Me. We're gonna Wednesday or Thursday do live stream, and then I'll be with the Lioness ladies. But really, my plan for my channel is to do some updates once in a while about myself. But really, what I love is sharing other people's stories. So I'm just reworking out my schedule to be able to like interview people and get that back up on my channel and get more on my channel again. Most likely I'll be doing that over the weekends. I used to do that stuff during the week, but like I said, we've been really busy. So the weekends are probably the day. Yes, I'm with Brett Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Not live though. We won't be going live.
9 a.m. Central?
No, but we're not live. I'm just interviewing him.
Oh, okay.
Unless Brett, you want to go live? Let's just do the interview. Anyways, Saturday and Sunday mornings when I'm going to be doing that stuff and then getting some content out during the week. Also, in September, we did this 24-hour live stream. So I have a project I'm like mid-working on, which is chopping that live stream up and just like doing each thing as a segment. So because I think people want it, obviously someone's not going to sit there for 24 hours, but there's so much good data in there. So there we go. Oh, thanks, Brett. Probably I need to send you a link. We'll do pre-recorded. So yeah, so those are my future plans. Getting the interviews done, and I have a couple ideas for some videos that I'll do, but mainly I want to be interviewing people and sharing their stories because I think it's like so important that we share our stories. I don't care if you're like a perfect carnivore, like meat, salt, water, or if you're keto and you love your salads and you're doing great, or if you're like kind of like me and just like a lazy carnivore, meaning you just like eat steak, but maybe sometimes you'll have some yogurt. You know what I mean? Or like sometimes I'll
Right,
have some
right.
stevia. Am I carnivore? I don't think I lose my carnivore card, but I think I'm more that than keto.
That's right,
By the way, that's why my
exactly.
channel says Alia Wells. I don't want to back myself into a corner.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why I didn't change mine. I had
I
thought
hear
about it
you.
and
Yeah.
just leaving it at my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I got advice from Serious Keto from Steve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had asked him, I had thought about changing my channel name. He said, first of all, the best advice I can give you is don't back yourself in a corner
Yeah.
by
Mhm.
labeling it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And
Because
so I said, all
yeah.
right, I'm leaving it as it is. It's me and I can do whatever I want with the channel. And
Exactly.
that's that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because
Exactly.
I have, on the flip side, I have so many that tell me to take the keto out of my handle name and to
Okay.
put carnivore. And it's like, well, right now, carnivore is working for me, but I don't want to restrict myself to just that.
Right.
Because the thing
Yeah.
is, with keto, that could also be ketosis,
Right. Yeah,
could be the keto
exactly.
part of it. So it's
Sure.
like, for me, it's like, it's all proper human diet to me.
So that's like
Exactly.
kind of like when we started these lives. We were not going to
Exactly.
differentiate between keto, ketovore, carnivore.
No.
We
Right.
are all human beings
Yes.
with under the ketogenic way of eating,
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
regardless of what
exactly.
facet you're under,
Mhm.
or low carb,
Absolutely.
or if you're vegan or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't
No,
we
it's
don't
not
have
to
an issue with
bash
anybody.
anybody. No.
Yeah,
And
Everyone got to do
exactly.
what's best for them.
right, was
You
it
know.
last week we had that negative person in the comments or the
Oh,
week
Oh, I'm
yes.
before?
sorry.
Yeah.
That was awful. And that's when
Aw.
I couldn't be on because I couldn't talk.
That's when
And
my Jersey really came
that
out.
was just
You
nuts.
didn't just like block them and kick them out of the chat?
Well, I
Uh,
communicated
Cindy
with
addressed
them
it
at
in the
first
chat,
in the chat. I
Oh,
said,
okay.
first
and
of all,
I,
Sean and I
mhm,
do not
no,
accept negativity on our lives.
yeah,
Yeah.
None. And just because I can't be face to face with anybody, I had been sick for a while, if you didn't know,
Oh, I'm
but I
sorry.
could not talk. So I told her I will be in the chat. And then she caught it eventually and she addressed it live.
Oh,
And,
wow.
because it set me off.
it was
It
great.
set me off because we had Carnivore Kip on,
Aw.
and Carnivore Kip, him and I go back from the beginning. From
Mhm.
the beginning. Like literally, he did not even have 20 subs when
Oh,
I met
wow.
Carnivore Kip.
Aw.
Yeah, I
So
was
for
one of his
me,
first ones too.
it
Right,
really
right.
it hurt me big time because
Sure.
when you consider someone a friend and you are so close with somebody from the very beginning,
Yeah.
and for somebody to call that person weak, I
Right.
flipped. I flipped.
The East Coast came out.
The East Coast definitely came out, but no, absolutely. I'm so happy you addressed it that way because I think, within the community of the proper human diet, a lot of people make it separation, like Cindy said,
Yeah.
when we all are trying to heal our bodies.
Right.
Bottom
Right.
line, we're trying to heal our bodies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all of it is a proper human diet. There should not be the separation. There should not be the mentality that any which way is the better way of doing things.
Right.
Whatever's working for you, whatever's working for your body, whatever's working for your journey, that is the best way.
Yeah,
Right.
So I'm
absolutely.
so happy you included it in your
Everybody
closing.
handles, I'm sorry, everybody's body handles things
Mm,
differently.
Sure.
absolutely.
Like I eat
Sure.
very few vegetables,
Mm,
but I will drink or eat keto chow one way, shape, or form. And I do like Chalk Zero and I will eat it. But
Oh,
most of my meals, like today, we went to a restaurant when I got down here to meet with my sister, and I had a ribeye and some broccoli, and it was
mm,
delicious. You know,
and you didn't
yeah.
fart afterwards? You weren't on the fart train after the
no,
broccoli? Oh,
no,
because I would
broccoli
be.
doesn't bother me.
I would have stomach pain and then I would be on the fart
That's
train.
the thing. That's the thing. I think that's what I've discovered the most is now that I have the elimination of the veggies,
Yeah.
for me, I think that was the culprit. One of the veggies I was having on keto started causing me the IBS issues. But you got Rick broccoli?
He's like, what's broccoli? What animal is broccoli?
Because you're talking about a 40+ year
Everybody knows,
carnivore.
everybody on here should know that I am not a carnivore.
Yeah, we
I
know.
eat a lot of meals that are just meat and eggs,
Yeah.
but that's not all I eat in the
No.
course of any
You're
days.
just very meat heavy.
And I
Yes.
did, and I did 1 month last year of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs so strictly. And when I went back, nothing that I reintroduced bothered me at all.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So nothing. I mean, I've lost
Mhm.
100 pounds on my journey. I
Well
have
done.
kept it off
Yeah.
for over a year. I feel great. I've reversed so many things, and it's like, whatever. I did it
Yeah.
my way, and it
Mhm.
worked for me.
That's what
And
it's all about.
That's awesome.
right,
Yeah,
if anybody
exactly.
doesn't like that, that's
It's
up
not
to
their
them.
body.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Bottom
Everybody's
line,
different.
it's not their body.
And the point is, it's the ultra highly processed foods that aren't really foods. It's like this garbage that
Right.
people have developed so that we get addicted to it, and that's a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
culprit. And yeah, I understand some people can't have vegetables, but that's, you know, maybe it's that way because we've screwed our bodies up so bad, and so we have to go very basic on how we eat. I don't know, but stay away from the crap. Stay away from the duck foods.
The duck foods.
Stay away from the duck foods. Stay away from the processed stuff. Stay away from the highly inflammatory cooking oils, and
Right.
you're gonna feel a lot better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even with those changes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Because I saw what it did to me. Oh, okay. The last thing, and then I know we have to finish. But so when we were in the U.S., I mentioned how I gained weight. What
Yeah.
shocked me was my son, how fast he put on weight. He is like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not skinny, but he is.
Uh-huh.
He's thin. He has a thin face. He's never been overweight. Me as a child was overweight. I was so happy my kids aren't overweight. It's just the
Right.
culture is totally different here on how
Mhm.
you feed your children. Even if there's rice and lentils and beans, is way different than
Yeah.
eating at McDonald's and your French fries every day. You know, eating pizza every day or whatever, just really
Mhm.
low quality foods. And I'll interject. I don't blame my parents for how we ate as a kid. This is what we thought
Right.
was good. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you didn't
Yeah.
know. Like bologna and sandwiches. You don't know, you know. But so I'm not saying any of that. That's just how we were raised in the 90s. So, but I was overweight, and so were my brothers. So to see my kids here, I'm like, oh my God, they're not overweight. They're going to grow up. They're going to
Right.
like have these healthy bodies. Okay. In the US for a month, one day I look at Jacob and I'm like, what happened to you? Like his face was swollen. He has like a little belly.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
doesn't look
Wow.
fat,
Uh-huh.
but was
Right,
chubby.
right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is actually insane. This is how terrible our food is in the
Yeah.
US. That 3 weeks, a totally healthy looking,
Yes.
like thin, appropriately sized child
Right.
got chubby and like looked like
Yeah.
That was that Halloween candy.
it was the Halloween candy. It was the all the bad stuff that we
Just
did.
the food in
Just the food
general.
in general, and it
Yes.
wasn't good. It was fast food for sure, and
Right.
restaurants and all these things. And I was just, I knew that I was going to gain weight,
Yeah.
but I had no idea the effect that it was going to have on him. And my daughter's
Exactly.
just more picky. Like,
Yeah.
let's say my uncle, he's like, oh, let's go to McDonald's. I'm like, fine, whatever. Let's go to McDonald's. She would eat like a French fry and a bite of her
Yeah.
burger, and she wouldn't eat anything else. And my son would eat all like,
Right.
give me more French fries because
Yeah.
he's like me, I guess.
It definitely is huge. We've been able to see like the full on comparison between both of our kids
Yeah.
because our youngest, he's going to be 7 the end of next month.
Yeah.
He went straight from breastfeeding at 30, like it was like between like 33 to like 34 months is when he ended his breastfeeding, and
Okay.
he went straight into keto.
Oh,
So
great.
he's never had standard American diet.
Right.
The oldest, by the time we got on keto, he was like 9.5 at that point.
Yeah.
He was like 3 months shy of like being 10 years old. So imagine, 9 years of standard
Right.
American diet.
Sure.
So seeing the comparison of the both of them,
Yeah.
when I tell you our youngest, he does not have any chub on him at all.
Okay.
No chub at all.
Right.
But the oldest, just comparing their photos throughout like their childhood, it's night and day.
I bet.
Night
I
and
bet.
day completely.
Yeah.
So like that, the noticing of your son
I
coming
was
here to the
shocked
States.
one day. What?
It is. It's
What happened
huge.
to you? I mean,
It is huge.
it's crazy. I mean, he's
Yeah.
fine now. He's fine. Whatever. He's outside. He's playing. That's the other
Yeah.
point. The other point
They
is like my
adopt.
kids
Yeah.
need to be outside, and then
Mhm.
we couldn't do the same. Like here, he can be outside 5-6 hours a day. He's at the grandma's house. They live up in the mountains. It's like this huge property. It's fenced. They're literally outside all day
Right.
playing in the sun, running around. Last week before I left, and they stayed there. I'm like, "Where's your shirt, Jacob?" He's like, "I need the sun on my body."
Exactly. You see? He got the
It's very
understanding
cute.
of that all natural vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, he's fine. He's almost like reversed everything that I
Yeah.
let him do there. Like I didn't
Because
stop
kids are
him.
so
Yeah,
resilient. They really
yeah,
are.
Yep.
totally. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, fast food
That's
is
that's
nasty.
really
You're right.
great
You're right.
to
It's
share that
totally
with us. It
nasty.
is because when you hear about like I don't know if anyone's, seen this. I'm sure anyone that's on social media has seen like those posts where people have like buried like a Mickey D's
Oh no.
burger and
Oh, who told
fries,
me? Don't
and it's
tell me.
lasted for decades upon decades and it's completely intact.
Oh no. Oh man, don't tell
Yeah.
me. No, guys,
The
the
only thing
carnivore.
that disintegrated was a majority of like the burger patty, but like the bread, the french fries, completely intact,
I'm
completely
sorry.
intact.
It's
But
disgusting.
it's one of those things. It's like, we learn from it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't beat yourself up about it. You
No.
just learn from it.
Right. Yeah, like
You
I didn't
know?
beat myself up. I was just like, oh, I got to get back on plan because
Yeah,
I feel so much better.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well,
That's what
thank
it's
you
about.
for giving us that little bit of extra time. We definitely didn't mean to go over, but it happens because we try to make these as just natural flowing as we can.
Sure.
But as always, thank you so much, everyone, for your support and for showing up for these lives. We truly appreciate it
Absolutely.
because definitely for a Friday night, you could be doing anything on your Friday night and be doing anything with their time. But the fact that you gave us a little over an hour of your time's worth or even 5 minutes of your time, we
Oh, thank
truly
you.
absolutely appreciate every single one of you. And thank you so much, Alia. We fully appreciate you for coming on. And anyone that has not subbed to Alia, definitely go ahead and check her out. She is on a bunch of lives. She is definitely fully saturated within the carnivore community, the proper
Yeah.
human diet community. Cindy went ahead and added yet again her
Thank
link
you.
there. So go ahead and show her some love in the form of a sub. We would certainly
Oh, I
appreciate
love
it.
that.
But thank you so much, everybody. We hope everyone has a safe, great weekend. So take care, my friends.
Bye.